what's up, everyone? You're watching Talking Ball, and this is Call. It's this new thing I'm trying out. But anyway, hey, it's Colin, Mr. Talking Ball himself, and gosh, guess I just jumped straight in. If you're anything like me, and you watched that match today, your entire weekend's ruined. So figure we might as well ruin it further by kind of diving deeper into this match. Um, Seeing what it might mean for the rest of the season. Got some key injuries now. Well, we've already seen one match against a team that we were expected to win against without Hugo Lloris. I mean, where's the rest of the season going to go? And so, yeah, I'm just going to kind of dive into that. And I'm also going to throw into the chat the link to join in. And so, anybody else who's interested, who wants to talk, who's got something to get off their chest, um, just is just bored, can come hang out. Hey, I got a message from one of my favorite people ever. It's Aaron. Aaron Boop. What's up, brother? Hey, I'm about to throw the link in for you, my man. I'll pin this here. But yeah, it's like where to start even. For me, as soon as the lineup came out, I was feeling pretty good actually. But it brings up the question: should Poro have started? I guess is the one thing to question in that lineup. And stuff. Uh, in hindsight, maybe that was a mistake, and I'm sure that's something that I'm going to talk more about as time goes on here within the show. But he didn't look good, did he? I think that we expected to have the majority of possession. We expected them to sit back. It's not exactly what we got. There was a lot more pressure from them, especially against our midfield too, than I think we originally anticipated. But yeah, I mean, oh, okay, real quick, Aaron doesn't go live anymore. Yeah, there was a lot more pressure on that chat. Sorry, on that midfield too than I think that we anticipated originally. And so our plan kind of went out the window. I think looking back, I think this game would have been much better with Emerson, retaining his spot there at right wing back. But it's impossible to say now. Obviously, hindsight's 2020. Um, wow, this is somebody I haven't seen in forever. Ricky Villa, otherwise known as another name, but I don't know if maybe he doesn't want everyone to know. Middle table is beckoning. How the actual blank do you play Tanganga over Sanchez? Uh, Japhet Japhet is finished after all those injuries. Yeah, I mean he was so promising there for a while. Man, good call there. Like he was the next thing. He was the player that was going to make it out of our academy. He was the first player since Kane really to really do it. He seemed like he was going to be great. First nailed on first team, and then he just kind of fell off. But we've also seen Sanchez make a ton of mistakes. He's cost Conte. Conte doesn't seem like he could trust him, I guess. And what other choices he have? It's tough. It's real tough. Mid-table even. I don't know. I really 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 hope that's not the case. Um, of course, Scott's going to say this, but yeah, Scott, you say Emerson's terrible. Starting Poro was the right move. And yes, I think this is the connection that you're trying to make, Aaron. Yes, I think that's who you think that is, unless I'm wrong too. But no, I think you're right. But yeah, I don't know. It was just Poro was just getting absolutely dominated. They looked like they knew that he would be the weak link. They knew that he couldn't defend. He was specifically targeted. I think him with Tanganga on that side together, I just think it was a recipe for disaster. So maybe Tanganga is more. I don't know. I don't know. I honestly, some people are saying that Pedro Porro should have played on the right you know um, with Emerson as right center back, and I don't know if I can see that. I mean, I don't know if he's ever played that position in his entire life. So it's tough. It's tough to say. It's really tough to say. But starting lineup aside, the match was terrible. And by the way, if anybody wants to jump in, get in on this wild action, because it's crazy, it's crazy in here. Feel free to jump on in. You're tuned into Talking Ball with Call, Yeah, so yeah, once the match starts, I mean, it was clear that it wasn't going to be good. Uh, I don't know. It started off sort of like the City match, where it looked like they had more control. We got a goal against the run of play. This time we didn't hold on. This time we couldn't hold them back, and they started carving us apart. And I mean, even before our goal, it was clear that we were being exposed defensively. Um, and honestly, to me, a lot of it comes down to formation. I don't think that we're going to succeed with the midfield too, but I also can't see Conte changing his ways. So it's like, at this point, what do we do? Do we look for a better midfielder? Look for a more complete. I mean, there's only a couple of midfielders like that in the world, like complete midfielders that can take the reins. But it's like it's like seriously, it's just like we get over on the midfield every single match. And I've got a couple things to talk about the match. We all know what happened. We all saw it. We all saw the loss. But there's no getting around this. So I'm just gonna just throw it out there. We have the Bentancur injury. Uh, how bad is it? And I hate to speculate. I mean, the fact that he was walking, I think, is a good thing. But I mean, what does that really mean at the end of the day? You think about adrenaline when an injury like that happens. They also said that he was treated with some kind of like pain reducer, which to me sounds like a fancy way of saying they like shot him up with morphine or something. In which case, yeah, you definitely might not know. You tore your ACL. I don't know. So uh, I'd like to know from you guys in the comments, real quick. Aaron says looks like ACL. You've seen a lot of those. Have you seen a lot of people do their ACL in? Because usually whenever I do, I don't know. They don't. There's definitely that period of like screaming and pain like he had, but they don't seem to get up and walk away from it like that. But it could be severity. I know that that there's partial tears. There's yeah, but yeah, hoping that that is not it. Um, hoping that's definitely not it. Because without him, we're kind of lost. I mean, how many games has he single-handedly got us points this season? I mean, I would say that he's been contender for player of the season for us. And so to be without him would be bad news bears. Um, oh my god! And speaking of injuries, I gotta. Sorry, I'm all over the place today. I haven't done one of these in a while, but I have to talk about this. We're gonna lose every single game the rest of the season if we have to play Fraser Forster in goal. Like he's bad. We'll return to Bentancur. Hopefully, I'll get some more people on who can talk a little bit more in depth and maybe know a little thing or two about knee injuries. I know a lot of people out there have had them. But one thing, Forster is slower than a tree. He moves slower than an actual tree. The man is too big. It's like he seems like he's moving in slow motion all the time. I think 3 of the 4 goals that went in today, for as much flack as he gets and for as many errors as he makes, I think Hugo stops 3 of those 4 goals today. Um, is that to say that he doesn't make any other mistakes along the way? I don't know, but I think that he definitely stops 3 of the 4, perhaps all 4. And I think we're going to suffer a lot this season when Hugo's not there. Um, he as much flack as he gets, like I said, and I know he makes defensive. He's got these lapses, complete lapses, where it's like he's not. I don't know how a player of his caliber, who's done so much on such a big stage, could make these mental errors. But at the same time, he's also saved us so many points. Real quick, we've got RVTV, who, hey, what's up, RVTV? Don't know if I've ever seen you before. I think I have. Sounds really familiar. Maybe actually just in the comments on United Spurs of America. And if that's the case, what's up? Thanks for being here. Either way, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. But yeah, RVTV said look nasty, referring to Bentancur, of course. Um, lacing up, lacing up your boots as we speak. Yeah, that's good, man. Hope you can. If you could play center back, that would be cool. And then we could just end this whole Tanganga or Sanchez debate. We could just put RVTV back there, right? Center back. I don't know if you could play central center back, and then we could get Eric Dyer out of there because holy shit, was he bad today? Oh my god, everything was bad. This match was just it exposed a lot of things, and it also put us in a really bad position for the rest of the season. Good. We got Aaron lacing his boots up too. Good deal. Oh my gosh, Chris Agambar. I haven't seen you in forever, man. Yeah, he says big up and big up to everyone in the chat. Yeah, good deal. Lots of love. Appreciate you guys being here again. Really nice to have the crew back together. Like I said, I haven't done one of these in a really long time, but that match really sucked, and I wanted to talk to a camera and a handful of other people out there. And again, I'm gonna post the link for anybody that wants it. Um, it's there. And Aaron tells me to make him a mod. Interestingly enough, I don't know how to do that, but I'll work on it and I'll get it done for you. Um, but yeah, no, I mean that game was so bad. Eric Dyer. Which goal was it? I've already started to forget it. I'm blessed as I get older. My memory's going, so I have kind of goldfish brain about these matches that we lose. But there's a goal where Iheanacho did like the slowest, sloppiest, laziest fake shot, and then took the exact same shot a second later, and Dyer completely took the bait and didn't even I think he thought he was faking again. I don't know because he didn't even flinch. And so Nacho kind of used Dyer as like a shield to take the shot around, and then of course when you guys saw it go in. But man, Dyer just I've defended him a lot in the past, but this game made it a lot harder to. Yeah, it was the third goal. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, because the fourth goal. Okay, yeah. I actually have a video up here. I was rewatching the goals, but it was just making me upset, so I turned it off. But yeah, Scott. I mean, don't you agree that was the laziest thing? I mean, about as lazy as Perisic running out to close down. Um, wow, can't remember his name either, but the defensive midfielder there for Leicester for their first goal. That was pure laziness as well. I can't be too mad at Forster for that one, but I do think that maybe Hugo gets a hand to it. Maybe Hugo's a freak. His reflexes are awesome. I think he might get a hand to that first goal. That one's up in the air though. It could be that he lets that one in too. Um, but man, it's just we're really in a bad place. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what Fraser Forster is really bad, as evidenced by today's game, and we weren't playing against. No offense to Leicester, I know they spent well in January, and they got some good additions. They've always had some good attacking players. Brendan Rodgers is a good coach, good manager, but they're not like world class. But we got completely dismantled today, and so I don't know. It just sort of leaves me scratching my head and wondering if I'm gonna have you know twice a week where I feel just like this, where I'm just like, what am I even doing? Um, do we call up Brandon Austin, or do we have him come and play? Because I don't know anything about the youth team, so I'm gonna need to see how good he is, how he's performing. He might be on loan, good God, but we need something because we need somebody that's more agile, someone that can move around. A lot of times, Forster, it seems like he's making the right decision. He knows like where the player is going to go, but he physically can't get his body there in time. It's just because he's a big, lumbering, blumbering donkey tree man, and he sucks, and I hate it. So, I don't know. Oh, yeah. So, um, another thing I wanted to talk about. So, thanks everyone for being here. By the way, everybody who's here, you're officially a member of the I don't know. There's a club. There's a club for you guys. I'm gonna name it. Thanks for being here. You're the real ones. You're the real ones. Um, I didn't really announce this. It's where that's not on. I'm gonna post the link again. It's almost like Scott missed it, but I just want to know real quick this question. I'm gonna get all my questions out quick, and then we'll kind of get back to them. Um, what what do you guys think's the reason of Sun's poor form? Um, I mean, he's clearly a shell of his former self. Um, what do you guys what do you guys in the chat think it is? I mean, do you think age has caught up with him? It's either that age is either caught up with him. Premier League teams just completely have his number, or it's all in his head, or it's a combination of the three, which is probably the most likely in life. If there's ever an option that's like all of the above, go with all of the above. So it's probably just that he's getting older. He's probably losing a step, in his pace. Teams know what he likes to do. They know if they bully him a little bit, they can really unsettle him. They can really take him out of the game that way. And he's also in his own head. I think that has to be it. I think that has to be it. But like I said, I'm interested to know what you guys think. Um, whoa, okay, hot take, in my opinion, hot take. Woo. Like I wish I had a fire truck next time. I need to call the fire department. You didn't think Sun was bad today? Then again, the rest of them were terrible. I don't think Sun did anything. Sun couldn't pick a pass. I was 2 yards away from him today. But I don't know. That's tough. That's really tough to say. Um, I do definitely think Sun was bad today. Whenever Kulusevski came off for Richarlison, I mean it makes sense because Richarlison plays better on the right, but I so badly wanted him to come on for Sun so badly. I thought Sun was just he looked a lot to me like Lucas Moura out there today. Um, whoa, and then Scott's coming on again with the heat. I'm just getting blasted today. Sun was much better than Kulu and no worse than Kane today. And I never said Kane. Kane definitely didn't play his best match today either. So yeah, I'm gonna pull up the Sofa Score ratings for the game today, and we'll kind of see what the numbers said. I like really disagree with you guys, but totally cool. Yeah, so according to these ratings, they all basically got the same. Harry Kane got a 6.7, Kulusevski 6.5, Hillman Son 6.4. So I mean, essentially, all in all, it's the exact same. But I mean, anybody with eyes could see that Son was targeted. I'm not saying that the reason he plays bad is because of him being bad. I'm just saying that teams know what he's doing. They know what he likes to do, and they know how to nullify it, which is just to body him, and he can't take it. Um, so I don't know, and please feel free to refute that and argue with me. I think that Kulu was also pretty. They did a good job nullifying him too. I don't know. We had a bad match today, and I don't know where it stemmed from. I couldn't tell you, except for just the fact that we were getting choked out at midfield. So I don't think we could distribute very well, which then forced us out to the wings, which Pedro Porro is not very good. Or didn't play very well. Is it yet good in our system? It looks like, and, and and then we had to put in hopeful balls from out wide, and then they have big tall defenders. Is that what it was? Um, I don't know. Like I said, very interested to know what you guys think. Um, Kulu was terrible. Well, Kulu is a weird player because it's kind of like Nasir Chadley from years past, who was a terrible player in that he would come in and he wouldn't do anything at all, like nothing at all. Then he'd glide past three players and slot in a goal. I guess like a Clint Dempsey was kind of like that budget version of that too. But yeah, I know what you're saying. He didn't score today, so it doesn't when he scores it's fine. When he doesn't, I do get what you mean. I wouldn't say it was terrible, but I get you. Um, and then RBTV saying that he agrees with Sky now. Maybe he needs to lie down. Look at this. Friends are being made. Friends are being made on Talking Ball. So remember that. This is a place of love, a place of friendship, kinship. We're all Spurs fans. We're all suffering together. And so we might as well be together. And that's why I have the link in the chat. I see 6 people are watching. That's incredible. 6 people are listening to a weird ginger talk about a game that they all watch. So thank you guys for being here. Thanks for being in the chat. Um, you're making this fun. You're making this a lot less me being a crazy person and a lot more hanging out with the community. So big love to y'all. Um, Oh man, look at this. Okay, so Scott, I don't think we would have been any worse playing with 10 men instead of having Kulu out there. Okay. Um, let me look at something real quick. The three tackles Kulu made um were probably important. So he was better than not having anybody out there, Scott. Just saying. Um, but yeah, I mean, was he largely invisible offensively? Yeah. Was all of our team? Yeah. The goal we scored was completely against the run of play. I didn't dare get excited after that goal. Did any of you guys? Did anyone here in the chat get excited after that first goal, or did you just know for a fact that we were gonna cock it up? Because I knew we were gonna mess it up. Um, so for Scott, back for the worst. Kulu and Hoiberg invisible. Forster a glacier with the pace of a snail. Kane Son crap. Then Bentaker the only one kind of okay-ish, but not good either. Um, yeah, can't really disagree with you there either, Scott. Like that was a bad match. Everybody was bad. Everybody was bad. Um, oh man, yeah. Not only was no one stepping. I mean, it was pretty clearly that was on Perisic in my opinion. I think Perisic needed to be closing down. He is. We need better. Okay, so we're gonna have to play more defensive wing backs if we don't have better center backs. I think that as much as everyone hates Emerson and hates watching him play and contribute nothing to the attack and lobbing dumb crosses that don't go anywhere and cutbacks that get intercepted, I think that having him is necessary unless we can get better center backs or get our center backs playing better. Like because Pedro Porro offered almost nothing defensively. Um, Perisic offers almost nothing defensively. I don't know. I just think that somebody's gotta be good defensively out there. Who do we have? Romero, and when he's not, getting a red card. Um, and yeah, Romero's great. And I think if he sorts his head game out, which I think he will, sorts his mental game out, like I think he will. I think he's going to be, one of the best players, one of the best defensive players we've had since, like Ian and Toby, which I know hasn't been that long ago, but we've really not replaced them in any capacity, even though we've spent a lot of money trying to. So, yeah, for the savior. Yeah, well, he did have a bad debut, but it can only go up from here. So that's something to think about, right? Definitely can't get any worse. Definitely can't. Um, RVTV, yeah, Paris is head of soccer as well. We need Emerson because he can defend a bit. Yes, and our center backs. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know if you put this in before I said it, and I just didn't see it yet, but you literally were on the same wavelength. And because of that, I think you should definitely join in and jump in and have a little chat um, about the game. Baptism of fire against Leicester. Yeah, no kidding. We normally like to chuck our players in against Liverpool or an Arsenal, but yeah, Leicester were enough today to make him look real bad. But hopefully that was just a one-off. I mean, he's clearly meant to be the more offensive of our wing backs on the right. I mean, clearly. And we played him today for that reason. We thought Leicester would sit back. They didn't. They actually, pushed us. They pressed us. It was sort of a counter press, and they targeted that spot right behind him, and he couldn't get back. And he's not a good defender, and he's not good at reading attacking moves and knowing where to be and getting tackles in. He's just not. Um, Yeah, I see, Aaron. I see this a lot. I see a lot of people saying that they wouldn't have minded Emerson starting there today, but has he ever played there before? Is my only question. And I mean, even if not, I get what you're saying. He's a defensive player. How hard really could it be? It's super similar, especially when you see Ben Davis, who was a left back playing in that position, but only on the left. So I know what you're saying, but just wondering if has he ever played there, that anybody knows of, or is there any game has he done that for us, or just wondering because I've seen it a lot of places that people would have liked him there. So I was just wondering, um, just just wondering. So we still haven't really got to the root cause of what people think Son's poor form is, but he's really, really, really off of it right now. There were times today where Sonny would have had a shot normally. He would have had a pop. Um, and he didn't. And I'm just wondering, so that part is in his head, clearly. He's in his own head about previous misses, about the fact that he needs a goal. He's very aware of all that. He just won the Asian Athlete of the Year. It might be footballer, but I think it's Asian Athlete of the Year. He just won that award, so that's also kind of hanging over him. He knows he's not been playing well lately, so I know there's a lot of pressure there. But I just wonder, it really does seem like he's completely, completely been shut down. And I know that happened with Kane. There was a point when Kane played his game a lot differently, but he started getting marked out of games by opposing teams, and yeah, I think he had to adapt his game, and I think that Sonny's going to have to do the same thing. I think Son's going to have to learn to adapt his game in some fashion because what he's always done is no longer working. And you know what they say, like it's you're a fool if you try the same thing over and over. Something butchered that quote, but here Scott says main reason for Son's form combination of him not being insanely clinical as he was, and us having zero quality midfield and defense to provide any service. That's fair. That's fair. And to kind of go with that, you said you don't think that Emerson offers us anything defensively. So do you think he offers us anything? Because offensively, he's tall, I guess. He offers that. Kane, center mid, able to collect goals from set pieces that Sonny can't to help him look better this season. Slightly confused with this, but sure you'll explain yourself, Scott. We're actually coming to a point where I would like to talk again about this season going forward. Hold on, no, Emerson, nothing offers nothing. Worst player we have. Okay, so follow up question, just to play devil's advocate, and this is just a question for Scott. We all know everybody that Scott loves Lucas Moura, as a lot of us do. I mean, he's a wonderful player. He's prolific. He doesn't ever, lose the ball. He always is able to dribble past his man. Keeps his head up. He's great. So we know Scott. We know Scott loves Lucas. Scott, would you play Lucas over Emerson in that right wing back role? Um, and that's just. I mean, the people want to know. The people need to know. So Scott, yeah, we're all waiting. It's kind of edge of seat stuff. Um, Also, Aaron highlights that we're slow playing out from the back, so he needs space and balls over the top. It's tactical. Yeah, that's Conte tactics. It's maybe a little off there. And it does kind of highlight. People say that Mourinho and Conte are both kind of playing the same type of football, but clearly not. I mean, look at the difference. I mean, look at the difference in Sonny's play of what Mourinho was able to get out of him. And I know that he did well under Conte last season. So clearly, it's not impossible. But I'm just saying, yeah. I mean, when we look to counter quickly, and get balls over the top, and there's balls for him to run onto. Um, Sonny thrives with the ball at his feet. He's not that great. I mean, he's not that creative of a passer. He's definitely not. I feel like Kulu is an offensive midfielder, um, that's playing out on the right, whereas Sonny, I feel like is an out and out winger. Maybe even striker almost. Like he's definitely not a creative passer, or that's not a big piece of his game. Scott, though, to answer the question earlier about whether he would go with Emerson or Lucas at right wing back, go with 10 men. And that's fair. And I should have told you beforehand that that is not allowed, but I didn't, so you're good. I don't know, man. I wonder how our loanies are gonna do when they get back. I wonder if they'll get any semblance of a chance. I mean, as long as Conte's here, no, right? But who knows if Conte will be here? And I don't know. As of now, I really expected a couple of people to take the bait, to hear some of my hot takes, to jump in, to be part of this. Nobody's here. So I'm putting in the link there again in the chat, as if you guys haven't already seen it every time I posted it. And I'm just hoping someone will come in, say what's up, kick this whole thing off. We could start a party. So, there's the link. Click it. Let's talk Spurs. So yeah, yeah, Udogi. I think he's gonna be awesome. Just kind of piggybacking off the very end of your comment there. I can't wait to get him back. I think with him and hopefully Sessegnon. That's a good question. I think it's gonna be him and Sessegnon that end up taking over that left hand side. I think with Perisic, eventually being old and not having a long contract, I think those two are the inevitable two on that side. On the right, I think we're gonna have, I think it's gonna be Pedro Porro, but who do you think is gonna pair up with him? Do you think we're gonna keep Emerson? It's been looking like he's for sale. He's been in the shop window, I think, the past two windows, but he also plays a lot. So does Conte like him? It's a weird one for me. Speaking of weird ones, got to guess finally, and it's a weird one. Um, he goes by many names depending on who he's with and what he's trying to do, and what country he's in and who he's working for. But I call him Scott M. What's up, buddy?
How's it going? I'm gonna try this out, but there may be periods where I'm a little bit muted just because I'm moving around and doing stuff, and I don't think you need to hear me clanging around. So
I
if
love
you ask
hearing
me
you
a
clang.
question and I take a second, it's just because I'm
Hey, you're
stopping
all
what I'm
good.
doing.
I love hearing you clanging around, man. You're all good. You're all good. But yeah, so it was a great game today. I'm really glad I got to wait all week for it and get excited, and the team had all week to prepare. And we were really traded to something today, weren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I wish, and I've been saying it, I wish that I was surprised by the result, but I can't say that I am. We've seen it. I don't even know. Way too many times we've seen that, right? Just when we think that we are that we're turning a corner, just when people get excited, we have a good performance. How many times have we followed that up with just a nothing performance? And I think that's what's the biggest problem is, right? Is that this happens way too much for us. So
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's why I always say I
Does that
feel
mean?
I
So
feel
does
at
that mean
times
that
the
we're
worst
gonna
for
beat?
people like you. Oh,
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, does that mean that we beat AC Milan then? Because we play a bad game, then a good game, then a bad game, then a good game. I think by that logic, the AC Milan match is in the bag. I think we're gonna smash them.
well, my logic would be is I think we're going to get up like 2-0 on AC Milan in the first leg. We're all going to get excited, and then they're going to come back and beat us 3-0 on the second leg and crush
Oh
all our
man,
dreams because that seems to
at
be how it
home,
goes, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
we
true.
get all excited and then they kill our hopes and dreams. So, but
Right,
I don't
yeah.
know, man. AC Milan. If Bentancur is out and Hoiberg, who isn't my favorite player in the world, but if he's out, and we're looking at Skip and Sarr as our starting midfield in a Champions League game in Milan, I'm not. That's not. That's not the stuff that you really hope for when you get into the Champions League. That's not the lineup, the midfield you're hoping to lead you into Champions
No,
League glory. But
it's not. But is it weird that I'm also not that worried about? Like, I mean, that midfield doesn't sound that bad to me. So I know that he was forced onto the pitch today, but I'm glad that you mentioned Sarr because he was forced onto the pitch today. But I thought he looked good. I thought he looked tidy when he came on. He looks like he can play both directions. He looks he looks a good player to me. I like him. I trust him. I don't know. Do you feel one way or the other about him really?
I mean, I like him as a player to keep going forward. I don't like him at this stage in his career starting against AC Milan in the Champions League. I think he shows decent things to be hopeful for, but I'm not sure. I think that he's shown anything that makes me think he's ready for this. I, yeah, I'm not as hopeful, but I know a lot of people are like him. And he, one thing is we're so used to, especially lately, players coming in and disappointing. So him coming in and being decent, it's great because it's so
Yeah,
different than what we're used
it
to.
goes against the grain of recent of our recent signings for sure. Yeah, I mean we threw him in and he's scrappy and I feel like he plays the ball vertically very well. He looks to break lines and he can get a tackle in. I don't know. He's a good player. I think there's great potential for him to be a great player. I think he's already a good player, and if he has to start versus AC Milan, I don't know. So why can't Hoiberg play? Or is Hoiberg not going to play versus
I
AC
think
Milan?
he's got suspended because of yellow cards, but I can't. That's what I
What
heard.
in the
I
Champions
can't.
League? What?
Yes,
I'll
I
have to
think it's
check.
specifically in the Champions League. Like he could play if we were playing in our next. But I'm not. I've heard different things about it. But somebody was saying that he's suspended for the first leg of the AC Milan game.
I believe it. I heard that too. I thought, but I thought that was for our next Premier League match. But okay, well then, dang, that is going to be rough. Aaron, real quick, saying that Sarr needs to bulk up a bit. He's a bit too scrawny. True, but I have seen players bulk up and then mess up their entire career because they bulked up too much. So he's got to be super careful about the amount of bulking up that he does. I don't know if you agree, Scott. Have you seen any players cough, cough, Gareth Bale, cough, cough, bulk up too much and just ruin what they had? Gareth Bale put so much muscle on his body, it just like broke down, and never worked right again. Oh man.
I think with Sarr, as long as it's more like of a natural, like I mean, he's only what 20 years old, so you would
Yeah,
think as
yeah.
he gets, he still has room to put on some natural. I would hope
Yeah, that's true.
weight and
I don't
size,
think he's
but
peaked physically. That's a good
so
point.
I think
Yeah.
if we're looking at that kind of stuff, yeah, no problem. There's
Yeah.
always in all sports, there's probably guys who have done too much of it. And that's always, but I think he should be fine if he just kind of gets older, right? When he gets to be 22, 23, 24. What do you call it? A lot of times, probably the same in football, but we heard it in North American sports. They put on that man strength, and hopefully he can get
Yeah.
some of that.
Yeah, man, strength. Um, Aaron says he needs a few roids. Dr. Aaron is in the house. Aaron, if you could get him what he needs, I think he needs to be on a cycle of testosterone and HGH, and let's get him on some peptides as well. Some I don't know the names of this stuff. I used to. Let's get him on all of it though, okay, Aaron? So get him what he needs. We're gonna get Sar bulked up. That's our next goal. I know. I think he's going to be a great player, and I think having Yaya Toure at the club, if they do any kind of training together, I'm not really sure, how much they would do, or how much interaction they have, but that can't be bad for a midfielder either. Especially same
Yeah,
position.
I would think if you have Toure at the club as a coach, working with Sarr would be the exact kind of role you would have him at, right? You would think
Yeah,
that would
yeah.
be
Why else?
exactly
Why else are they there, right? Yeah.
exactly why he would be there is to work with him. I mean, how much he can do, right? I think it was that easy just to say, yeah, Toure is going to make you into a great player. That we'd have a lot more great players. But I do think, yeah, he's exactly the kind of guy that you would want to talk to, have talking to you, working with you, giving you pointers, and I don't think it's going to
Arguably one
hurt
of the
him in
best
any way.
midfielders from the Premier League, that I can remember. So yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Uh, so as soon as I heard about Hugo's injury, I was pretty down, and I I knew it. I mean, I knew this was gonna be bad. I've seen Fraser Forster move. Like I've seen the guy walk around, and talk. Like I just knew he was gonna be slow. And I know there was that quote from Messi a long time ago now, years back, saying that Fraser Forster was the best goalkeeper he's ever played against when he was from Celtic, and he was insane, and blah 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 blah. But I mean, he's clearly past it. He's clearly too big. It's just that one was really frustrating to me.
Yeah, I was
Just
not one of the people excited, or not excited. I don't want to give people a wrong. I
yeah,
was
I
not one
know.
of the people that thought, oh, Hugo's out. He's had those big mistakes. We could be better off with Forster. No way. And I'm sorry. I think what we saw. I'll say this. I don't think he was directly at fault for any goals. But what concerns me is everything we saw about him, and it's exactly what you said. He's so slow. He doesn't have any movement. He has no agility. And I don't think he was at fault for any goals. But I think we saw in a lot of those goals every concern that you have about him. Like obviously the Mendy goal, nobody's going to stop it. But I think even on the 2-on-1 when I think Madison scored for their second, yes, that's tough, right? It's a 2-on-1. He's got to stay over and respect the. I can't remember who it was that passed it over to him. I think it was in Nacho. But even then,
Correct.
he got
Yeah.
over. That's one of the things he should be. He's 6'7". He's long, and I thought he's just so slow getting over there. Madison, it made it easy for Madison to score. The two other goal, or the was it the two other goals, or maybe the one I got mixed up which one got disallowed. But both times he had to get down, right? Not
Yep.
easy saves, but he wasn't even close. And I think for me, at some point, even if they're tough saves, you have to make a tough save. That's why you're there, right? And I think that that's what's concerning for me. He wasn't terrible, but he also showed everything that I was concerned about him, just how slow he is. And I think we can get away with it if he's the backup to Hugo, and Hugo's playing 38 Premier League games, and he's playing against the Portsmouths, the Prestons, even Sheffield United, who are a quality team, I
Yeah.
think, right now. But he can
Yeah.
play against them, right? He can do that. But when you start to get in these Premier League games and you start to get in the Champions League games, that's where I'm concerned that his lack of athleticism is going to really be a problem for us. And I hope people kind of see, right? Yes, Hugo had those big mistakes. No doubt about it. He made some bad mistakes. But I think that you might see sometimes that Hugo bails our defense out that we don't necessarily recognize because we're so used to it. And now we're starting to see what happens when you have a guy who isn't able to be the shot stopper with the athleticism that Hugo has, even at his, whatever 35 years, that it's a problem.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And you're right. I think this will maybe work to kind of shut some people up, so to speak, about Hugo. Maybe not though. I mean, those types of loudmouths are going to do what they do, but man, it's I don't know. We didn't realize what we had, I guess, with Hugo for so many years. I can't think of a more consistent, goalkeeper that's been with the team as long. I don't know. He's had something special with Tottenham, and I think he's appreciated it as much as we've appreciated him. To be fair, he's been able to be settled, and a lot of football players they move around. They don't, have, but he's been able to have a really a good settled life, and I think that means a lot to him and his family and everything too. He's had opportunities to go back to France, but he's opted to stay here. I think everybody in his family likes it here. I don't know. So I don't think that he's like a lot of people act like he's been doing us favors by staying with the club for so long, but it's a mutually beneficial thing, like anything is. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I just thought that one was weird. It was like Forster's just so bad. Like Brandon Austin has to be better, don't you think? I don't know a thing about the guy, but he has to be better. He has to. There's no way that he's not a better keeper. I refuse to believe it.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think Brandon Austin is the answer either. But yeah, I don't. I mean, at some point, how much does it matter if he lets in four more goals than he lets in four goals and the other guy lets in three goals? I don't think either one. I think, and don't give. And this isn't meant to like be a crap on Hugo. I think just because I think that he's better than Forster doesn't mean I don't think we should have had a replacement. I really think this year we should have had a better replacement for him than Forster. I think even a guy like I think it's Areola over at West Ham that played
Yeah,
for.
yeah,
Did he play in Fulham? I think before. Like I'm
he
not
did.
sure he's
Yeah.
ready to take over for Hugo, but if you brought somebody in
Well,
like that, I
well,
feel
look at
better about him
who
coming
does it?
in. But
Is it Nottingham Forest that has the guy from PSG?
Kyler Navas, yeah, like yeah,
Yeah. What?
they have
I know
him
they
and
could offer him the
Henderson.
number
Like
one. Yeah, I know. I feel like that's got pretty stacked. That's pretty. They're pretty stacked in that area for right now. I know it's only a loan, but sheesh.
yeah, I just think this was the year to bring in a younger guy, even if he's not the one we necessarily want to take over for Hugo. It just would have been nice to have a guy who potentially could. And I don't think I'm not sure Ariel is good enough to do it, but at least maybe he does. Maybe he improves and he comes in and he does it. But Forster wasn't, right? Like we know this. We don't want nobody wants Forster to be our starting keeper next year. I don't think, right? Nobody wants him to be the
Absolutely
guy
not.
taking
Yeah,
over for Hugo going forward. And I just think
I shudder
this was
to
the
think
year
of
to
that.
bring somebody in to do that,
It
and
really
we
shows how
didn't.
much that Hugo has saved his points on countless games, and I think this goes to show us. I think this goes to show how much that he's covered for that defense. That's absolutely dog water. Like I, I, I don't know. As much as hate as we all give him, Hugo has saved his points and saves his points frequently. It's this is bonkers. I don't know what we're gonna do. Whenever he inevitably is gonna retire, maybe even at the end of the season. So what are we gonna do there? You know? Uh,
I think yeah. Now the problem you run into is that you're looking for a replacement and you need it. Like again, I keep going back to the same. Ariel is representing a certain kind of player. At least if we had him, we have some option. Now we have no option, right? We're going to have to buy somebody and hope that they work out. We're probably honestly going to have to look. Well, I think Forster signed for 2 years, so maybe we're going to go with him next year. Which,
that's
but really,
literally
you're
the
probably
worst.
looking
That's
at
the
two.
worst.
We're looking at getting two keepers in. We need two keepers in because
Oh, I get what you're saying. We're gonna continue with Forster as our backup keeper. For a second, I thought you meant like move into next season with him as our primary keeper. I was like, what? There's no
no,
way.
I just meant if we had a backup keeper that we were more comfortable in, I think then at least you have that role filled. But I don't feel comfortable really going into next year with Forster as the backup keeper.
It's absolutely not ideal. But having him as the main keeper is the thing of nightmares. I mean, that makes me want to like uh go into the fetal position and dream of Pochettino on his knees crying because we just that's just I go back to that whenever I'm having a bad Spurs time. I just go back to that memory, that day. But sweet sweet night in Amsterdam. But yeah, I don't know. I think that we're very limited in who we can get as a replacement keeper as well, especially because we screwed over Everton and did them dirty. I didn't ever want Pickford crying ass, dumb haircut ass, stupid face, yelling at his defender's ass, dumb ass Pickford. But I mean, that looks like that's a no go now. I can't see that going through. After we snake that Danjuma deal. So it's like, whoa, it's Scott. But it's like, what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah, Pickford isn't a guy that I want, but it's kind of sad
No.
that right now he might be better than what we get.
Yeah,
I don't know. This is one. Sorry to keep going on rants, but I'll go on another rant. This
do
is
it. Yeah,
another
I love it.
concern I have about us not doing the business that we needed to do last summer. Is that what happens is then when if we say we're going to get center backs this coming up summer, well, we also need Hugo, right? And then if we look at the next summer, we're going to need more things, and that's a problem when you don't address your needs when you need them, because you're always going to be finding new
Behind,
needs. You're
catching
always going to
up.
have more holes, right? And
Yeah,
if you don't address the needs when you have them, you're gonna eventually just never be able to fill it. So we'll fill our center backs. Say we buy two new center backs, which I don't even think is possible, but we'll be hopeful. We buy two new center backs this summer, but then if we have Hugo again, or we have Forster, or like you say, we're trying to get Pickford, but we pissed off Everton, so that doesn't work out. Then we're scrambling to get somebody because there's not a real plan there, and that's really, you showed the perfect picture there of Clown Levy. And I know people get mad when we say it's all about Levy, but it really is. That's the problem when you're being a club that's reactive, when you're trying to address issues after they become a problem rather than having issues, then rather than having solutions at the club ready to take over. And I know lots of guys, for example, like that the young Irish keeper. I'm not sure he's ready to take over for Hugo now, but at least if you have him, he's a potential guy that could do it, right?
yeah,
He might. And if he isn't, well, hey, look, we're in the same position we are because we still need a replacement for Hugo. But at least if you had a player like him, a player like Ariel, or a younger guy who can develop into something, maybe then you have the option. But now we don't even have the option at all. Or
yeah.
if we had
It's
Jacob, right? We put a young,
exactly,
young Dallas area or El Paso keeper like him there. We have a chance. I trust him to
exactly.
develop into something more than I do Fraser Forster.
He'd have to make sure he's keeping that hair up or back or something out of his face. That would be hard to play with all that hair. But super privileged to have Jacob. I believe it is from United Spurs of America up here. Very good to have you, my friend. Good, always good, always good. Um, is Bobby Mims available? I'm gonna have to Google who that is. Don't judge me.
He's
Oh
the
God,
old, he's the old, like, terrible
yeah,
keeper from back in the day. I never
yeah.
seen him play, but
He played at Spurs. Nice, 88 to 90. Nice, good, good. That's good on you, Scott, for knowing that. Yeah, he might be available. I think he's still alive, right? So let's just hit him up. Um, so yeah, 100% Scott. Gav Baz wouldn't sound. That sounds like it's foreign, but I know that's just some like Irish stuff. So is that guy's actual name? Something.
it's Gavin Bazinu. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I
Okay,
think he's like the 20-year-old, 21-year-old Irish
Irish dude.
keeper that lots of people. Is that Southampton now?
Oh,
Again,
so
I
he
don't. I
he
don't think
wouldn't
he's
have
who
been a
we
great
want.
backup. I'm just trying to make sense of what
Uh,
Aaron said there, but he says yeah, wouldn't have been a great backup. Interesting.
no, I think
Maybe
it's
he
a
means
mistake.
would
He
have.
loves. He loves him. He loves him.
Oh,
He's
okay,
like he
okay.
will. I think he's even happy having him taking over for Hugo. So yeah,
There
no,
we go.
it's
There we
just
go. Yeah, he
yeah,
loves
he
him.
loves
It
him.
was a typo. Yeah, well, cool. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's somebody. He said Southampton now. We're pretty good at poaching players and stuff from Southampton, so maybe we'll hit them up. We get Kyle Walker back Kyle Walker Peters back while we're at it. No, this whole thing, just the state of the club, it just kind of everything kind of sucks right now. I know that we just need to get over this little hump, get a win under our belts. If we win this Champions League match, everything's looking a whole lot better. Everybody's happier. Everything's brighter. But we lose that, and it's like I don't know. I fear for the state of things.
I think it just shows where we are because I remember. I mean, you've probably talked to me long enough. I'm at the point. I don't really care that much about the results, win or losses. For
Hmm.
me, the season's a waste already. I don't think we're getting top four. I don't think we're winning FA Cup. I don't think we're winning Champions League. So I'm just kind of like, hey, win or lose. Probably all at the end of the year, it's going to end up whether we finish sixth, seventh, or heaven forbid eighth, which to me is all nothing. But we had those 3 games in a row because there was the City game, there was the Cup game, and why can't I think of who we beat before that? Was it the Palace game we won before, right? And we got excited.
Right.
Hey, we're going on a mini run. Now
Yeah.
we have this game, and like you said, we lose the Milan game, and it's just so easy for us to quickly go back from 3 in a row and excited. Now we're a couple losses in a row and things are down again, and it's just I don't know. It's the problem of having a team that doesn't have enough quality all over the place. Is that we're just at the whim of these kind of runs where we get excited because we get a few wins, but we're not consistent enough to keep it going.
Oh yeah. I mean,
And
and I think we as fans, myself included, I say we as fans, I'm really talking about myself. I need to like be more realistic. We get a couple wins and we're scraping them together, with last second shots and and it's all so messy and so not, it's you can't just duplicate that over and over again. That luck is going to run out and I'm guilty myself of thinking that lucky wins are the same as convincing it wins and just, a win's a win, but yeah, that win's a win and it's still 3 points and all that, but it's not the same for your team mentality and everybody going forward. And if scraping a win at the last second is not the same as winning comfortably by 3 goals, like, and I'm somewhat guilty of getting just as excited over either and thinking, you know
no, fair enough. And I think it goes. You were talking about your happy place with Poch, and it goes to show how great those teams were that they were able to recover in a way that I don't think this team can. Right? When they would lose a game, we would think that this is going to be a bad thing. We had faith in them recovering. We had faith that they would turn it around, and now we're not sure. Even you're. I always say you're probably the most positive fan that I talk to on a regular basis,
yeah.
and even you now are questioning it because it's just again we've seen it so many times, and this isn't a one-off. This is probably
No,
now
there's
three
there's
or
just
four
there's
three
just
or four
something
years of building on it, and then
something's off here. You know what I mean? There's a disconnect somewhere between the coach, the players, the board, the fans. Something's just not aligning. You know what I mean? It's just it's just not aligning, and I don't know. You know what I mean? Like we do have some good things. I think that Danjuma, I think he's a really good player. I think he's going to be awesome. I really would have liked him to come on today. And I'm kind of sad that he didn't. I think his strength would have been really good out there because we were just getting bullied by their defenders, and I think he could have done some good hold up play. That's one of the things he's known for. So that was kind of disappointing to me. And I mean, like Aaron says, we've got a whole bunch of players coming back on loan. Let's get some of those sold. I bet those could fund we could buy one good player with selling those 10. Um, Paratici is going to be, in prison. Yeah, well, I don't think that's true, but you know what I mean. I don't know. There's some good, but it's something has to change. Like, why does so? Have you've clearly noticed the change in attacking in the first half in recent matches, the last 2 matches, right? Like it seems like we have ditched our kind of bunker in the first half, attack like hell in the second half. That seems like that, and I argue with people a lot, but I think that had been a direct instruction from Conte, whether it be because our fitness wasn't good enough to attack like that the entire match. Um, I'm not sure, but it really seemed like we were purposefully wearing down other teams and then striking while we still had some energy left. Um, but the last 2 matches, we've been attacking from the get go. It worked against City. We lost today. I don't know. Do you think I'm onto something, or do you think I'm completely crazy when I say that I think Poch was instructing our team to do that?
I think you're completely crazy.
It's okay. It's fair. That's
And the
fair.
only there one of for a few reasons. One reason is I've seen Conte on the sidelines yelling at players to get forward in the first half. So I don't think that's what he wants them to do. I've also never seen him do that in his career. So it's a lot of things when I hear the Conte out. and the Conte criticism. Not that you're saying Conte out, but the Conte criticisms. I'm like, when I see him doing things that he's never done, and he's not, a new manager. You got lots of examples of how he manages, and I've never seen him do it. I just wonder, why would he do it now? I think so. I don't really think that he wants them to sit back in the first half and then go out there in the second half. I just think that the players lots of times don't have the ability to go forward if teams are pressing us. And I think that against City, they weren't really pressing us. They're not a team that necessarily has to press because they're so good at retaining the ball. They're so good at getting the ball. They don't have to open themselves up to the press. So it allowed us to have a little bit of ability to go forward. I'm also not sure that we did go great forward against City. I think it might have just been a case of it being better than we normally are. But and then today, Leicester, I mean, that's a defense that you want to play against if you're struggling because they give up chances. Brenton will always let his teams. That's why I said at halftime, even if we were down 3-1 and playing terrible, I said, if we're down to any team and want to come back, Leicester's at, Leicester City with their defense and with Brenton there in charge. That's the team you want to come back against. But I don't know. I think that the problem is that we have such a hard time retaining ball possession, and anyone who pressures us, just we can't deal with it. Right, our defenders, we don't have ball playing center backs, we don't have ball playing
Yeah, our players panic,
midfielders.
whereas players at other teams are composed and you know what I mean, are able to collect themselves with the player running at them, and yeah, it's ugly. It's ugly. Our players are just, I don't know. I hope it's a slump. I hope it's something.
Well, sorry, just to go back because you were talking about how things seems off now, and what I was going to say there is I just think it's years of us trying to paper over cracks. I think it's years of us not doing the proper things we've been doing, and eventually it's catching up to us. Like for so long, Kane and Son have saved us. We had Yan and Toby; those guys did so much too. And now, and
Hugo.
yeah, Hugo as well. Like we were talking about, instead of replacing them with quality, we've just been filling them in with guys who aren't good enough. And now, like you said, Son's not having a great season, and that's showing up. And we see in the chat, we have 10 guys coming back on loan. Well, we've been sending them out, sending them out, sending them out, not selling them. And when you have 2 or 3 guys, it's okay. But when you build it up over years, like that, now we're at the point where we have to cut people's contracts. Right? We just have to buy them out because we've loaning too many guys out. Like that's craziness. It's another. I'm
Oh,
sure
I don't
somebody
know.
else has
No,
done
I
it,
don't
but
know
it's
if I don't
another
know if I
thing.
believe that story, Scott.
What story?
Was it
We had to
that
buy
we
Doherty out because we had too many players on foreign loans. Right?
uh
We reached the limit on foreign loans.
I thought we just agreed to cut him, but I don't know.
No, we had too many. I mean, I'm sure he was fine with it because he probably got a similar deal. So, and he wants to leave. Like, what's the point of him sticking around Spurs? He knows he's not
He
going
would have
anywhere
been better
here.
than Pedro Porro today, that's for sure.
Maybe.
But that's all.
I don't
I
think Porro was really at fault for any of the goals, though, right? He wasn't great defensively. They went around him. Maybe you could say the first goal, like, or was it the first the Mendy goal? Even though the shot was great, the real problem with that goal was that they easily ran through us to get a corner. Right, that was the real problem.
true, yeah.
So maybe that was at him. I don't think he was. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Porro did
I
anything
don't know. I don't
to
know
put himself out in the glory or anything today.
yeah,
But
well, and he was just getting completely rinsed by that player on his side. Why can't I think of his name? We were looking at him for a second. Hold on a sec. What's that guy's name? Harvey Barnes was just doing it all game, all game. He could not stick to Harvey Barnes at all. Like, and I know that in Conte's formations that player isn't supposed to be extremely defensive, but still, I mean, offers some defensive cover. He, I don't know, I mean, he somehow got a 6.4 on SofaScore. It's better than I think he played, but
yeah, and well, I mean, I'm not a 100% adhere to Sofa Score. I think it gives you like a. I think it's a good thing to give you kind of a sense of how people play, but
yeah, oh yeah, it's not gospel at all.
but it all also sometimes relies on a few too many aspects. So I imagine if you looked into it, he probably didn't have a lot of giveaways, but that's probably because he didn't have the ball that often. I don't remember him doing that, and he might be able to help his score because he was okay passing. Like I don't think his passing was terrible, and he had a few decent balls in, so that might help pump it
That
up. Like
is
that's
true.
the only
I
thing about
remember. I remember that
SofaScore at
one
times, right?
cutback. I remember that one cutback in particular. But yeah, okay. Well, this is like the most anticlimactic thing. But Scott, this is we've been doing this for a while. We're almost starting to talk in circles. We're gonna leave it with this, okay? Something at Spurs is fucked, and we need it fixed. And so I'm putting you in charge of fixing Spurs, Scott. Okay?
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, my easy answer is going to be, but I'll try to give you a, a different
Well,
one than
no. I
just to
mean,
straight out
you don't.
leave you out.
You don't
But
have. You don't have to give me that answer. You got to convince the top brass to take your advice. Anyway, we're going to talk more about this, but everyone who's listening, no worries. Scott is going to fix Tottenham. Um, and I think he can do it. I think he can do it. So if everyone who's down with Scott fixing Tottenham, check a like on this video. And I'm back, everybody. I'm back doing streams. So, sorry that it was just me talking to no one for most of it. Scott, thank you so much for saving the kind people here. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining in. Scott, especially, thank you very much, sir. Is there anything that you would like to say to the lovely people at home before you go?
I'll just say it's always great to have you back. We've had some fun times on your streams. I always like the streams like yours where we can just be, easygoing, talk about whatever. We can have
Yeah,
you watching old school 1993 Nintendo where you can't understand that the Germans just run down to the corner flag and cross it to the middle, and you don't know how to
man.
defend that one single play, which is great. But
Yeah,
great to have you
I
back.
was getting
Always
smoked. Yeah,
a good time chatting. And whenever anybody says that the fan base is too toxic and all people do is argue, I hope you feel the same way. But you and I often disagree on a lot of things, but I always like coming and talking to you. I don't think we can disagree, but we always get along. We always have the good chat. So hopefully, not to make us too important, but it does show that we can still have some disagreements in the fan base without it being insane, toxic, and
yeah,
getting too bad. We can still have those football chats. But
100%. Yep, absolutely, man. I couldn't have said it better myself. It's all the games bring everybody together. Of course, if we all agreed, what fun would it all be? This would just be us, hugging each other and agreeing on stuff. That's no fun. So no, I'm glad we have different opinions. Definitely possible to be respectful and do that, as evidenced by Scott and I. And yeah, so everybody just try to be more like me and Scott. If you could possibly do that, just be better people, be nicer, be more kind to each other. And with that, I will say au revoir. And now I'm going to talk and tell the broadcast.